Hi, I'm Linda, and this is No Frills ASMR. I'm back from vacation, and I thought we could take a look today at I think they're called Cruise Compass, maybe, or maybe that's a Royal Caribbean term. But anyway, the flyers they leave in the stateroom on a cruise ship, and we'll go over what I did just day by day. I was on the Celebrity Summit cruise ship on the 9-night Western Caribbean from February 25th to March 6th. So I just thought I would pull these out. This bag they left in the room, I assume I was meant to take it. I guess they just left like a beach bag, because on board they supply you with beach towels that you can take to the ports, which is so nice because you need them, at these beaches, and you don't want to carry them. There are other things in here. It was Mardi Gras. I made this. Oh no, one of my things fell up. I made this God's Eye, which was a craft that I used to do when I was a kid, actually, in the 70s. And I'd forgotten all about it. And then they had Mexican ambassadors on board who were doing this. And I was like, oh, I want to make one. So I think one day we'll make one of these together on the channel. So I'll try to let you know in advance. So if you want to get some yarn, I'll tell you what you need and we can make one. That'll be fun. So anyway, when you're on board, you get these in your room every day, these Celebrity Today. I guess that's what they're called, Celebrity Today. So I thought I'll put them in order, and we'll just go through each day so you know what to expect if you were to go on this cruise or a similar celebrity cruise. And maybe some other time we'll come back and look, it even has this little extra zippy pouch. That's nice. We'll come back and talk about other things. If there's anything that you're interested in and you say, hey, tell me more about that, I'll see if I can do that. Okay, so this is day 9, day 8, day 7. And they have an app you can use that tells you all this. But it is awfully nice to come back at the end of a day and, while it's like they're on your bed when you come in, along with, where is it? Hold on. It's every night you get a chocolate on your pillow, which honestly I didn't eat even once because I was so full. But I tried to bring them home. Day 5, day 4. Yeah, so you get one of these every night. And it's nice because you can just sit in bed and kind of read about it, what's happening the next day. Day 1. Okay. And then there's also a lot of times stuff like this that we can look at that has like different things. Like if you book an excursion, which is at some ports, they sell excursions. So like you can go on a catamaran and go snorkeling and have wine or whatever the thing is. I didn't book any excursions on this particular cruise, but at least not with Celebrity. I did do one outside of Celebrity. But I did book what they call a ship excursion. And so if you book something like that, you'll get one of these in your room. And it has, like I booked this inside access tour. So they'll put this in your room to remind you about your excursion. And this one had rules about what you could and could not wear. And some people didn't read it, and we had to wait for them to change their clothes. But anyway, but then there'll also be other things like that. Okay. This goes with day 2. So here is when you first get on board. They say, welcome aboard. And they just kind of give you a rundown. On behalf of Captain Evangelos Satis, Saitis. So all of the captain's staff seem to be Greek. I think that's a common. The Greek people must do a lot of sailing, and they're captains. So the captain, and then I don't know what you call the second guy in charge. I don't know. They were both really handsome Greek guys. Very good looking. Anyway, and then they say the hotel director. I was looking for. Anyway, okay, and then they say everything you need to know, like your stateroom, that you can drop your belongings off. They flip over the ship. They let people off the ship. They have to be off by 10 a.m. And then they start letting the next cruise ship passengers on, I think by noon. Maybe suites even get on earlier than that. I don't know. So the staff is crazy working to make sure everything looks like brand new again, and it always does. Honestly, they do a great job. But so they let you come in and drop your luggage off, and maybe your room's ready, or maybe it'll have a note and say, I'm almost there, drop your bags, go explore, and come back at whatever time. So we did that. And outside the door, they have a thing called a sea pass. Oh, I forgot to have that here, but it's just like a plastic, card about a little smaller than a deck of playing cards card. Fits in your wallet, and it's lets you into your room. And you can also, it's connected to your onboard credit if you have that, or you can put a credit card on file. And then if you buy anything on board the ship, like drinks or in the shops or even at the casino, you can just, use your card to pay for stuff. So you don't have to carry a purse or anything like that. And I can't believe I forgot to bring it, but when I did the one tour, they gave me a celebrity summit, what do you call it? Lanyard, like a fancy one. And then it has a plastic case, and you can put the card inside that case to wear it around your neck. I used to do that, and then I started just carrying my card in my pocket. But I did end up using that lanyard this time, because if you're wearing a sundress or something, might have pockets. It's pretty handy. So anyway, that's your Sea Pass card. And then first thing when you get on, there's a lot of different ways they've done this, but now it's pretty good. They say just go straight to, ours was Rendezvous Lounge, which is one of the kind of bars on ship. So you go right there, and there's a guy there who says, did you watch the video? And I guess you could have watched the video. I don't know. And I said, nope. And he said, okay. And he shows you how to put on your life jacket and all that. And it takes all of 2 minutes. And he's really nice and everything. And then they say, okay, you're done. And you're told if anything were to happen, you'd go there to meet up there. And then you'd either bring your life jacket or get your life jacket, and then go to the lifeboat if needed, which God forbid that ever happens. But anyway, so that's done within the first 5 minutes. Now you're done. You're ready to just go have fun. It's awesome. And then they have lunch, and most people go to the Ocean View Cafe. That's the buffet on board the ship. And that is where we met up, because my sister and her husband went with us. It was the 4 of us. And we had rooms 3128 and 3130. So there was a connecting door between our rooms, and they were window rooms with very nice big windows and a view. And it was this is crazy, but we booked the exact same ship and the exact same rooms as we did in Alaska that I did a video on earlier. So if you're curious, there is a video that I made about a trip to Alaska on board the Celebrity Summit. But we just love them so much. And I will tell you, when the door is closed, I know people worry if they're not sharing, if they have a connecting room, if they'll hear noise. You don't hear a thing. I never heard them. I'd have to pound on the door, for them to know that, like, I'd go, hello, and they wouldn't hear me. You have to knock. And it's not unlocked unless you both ask to have that done. Then they can come unlock it. So I don't, it was great. It's quiet. Anyway, okay. So we went to Ocean View, but you could go to the main dining room, the Mast Grill. Oh, that's right. I take it back. We went to the Mast Grill, or a spot cafe. The Mast Grill is on the pool deck. It's outdoors, and they have hamburgers and hot dogs. So we started by just going, and we didn't have a drink package. We don't do the drink package. But we did go buy a Corona and had a hamburger at the Mast Grill. That was the start of our trip, and we all talked about getting there, My sister flew in that morning and made it in plenty of time. My husband and I flew in the night before to Fort Lauderdale, and we stayed at a hotel called the Snooze Inn, which is like an older hotel that, they've kind of fixed up cute, but it was cheaper than a lot of the other hotels, but it was still like $300 for a night. It seemed high, but we did book the fancy suite that looks out over the ocean, has a window that looks right out over the ocean. And I was going to show you pictures. I'll probably have to do another video showing you pictures. But right next door is this place called Casablanca Cafe. And I think it was built in like 1920s or something. So we went to happy hour at Casablanca, and they had like big dinner-worthy appetizers for, I think it was $7, and then their drinks were like on sale. I don't remember. It wasn't like $30 for the two of us to have dinner and drinks, and I had 2 drinks. he doesn't drink much, but so that was nice. Enjoyed that, and the Snooze Inn was also very nice. If you need somewhere to stay before a cruise, we Ubered there, and then Ubered. I think we were probably 10 minutes from Port Everglades. Okay, so then they talk about events, activities, luggage, internet. I didn't buy into internet. I used their free, they have a free internet to talk to each other on board. And I don't know why, but for some reason, with that, and maybe my cell service, I was able to still text my family and check my YouTube comments, but nothing else worked. I couldn't go online, and nobody else could even text. But for some reason, I could go in at night and see you guys talking and go, oh, hey. But I don't know why, because I didn't pay for internet. So that was kind of weird. They do have drink packages, and you can buy into that, and then you can drink coffee. Like they have a Cafe Al Baccio, I think it's called, and it's like lattes, cappuccinos. You can have all the beer, wine, mixed drinks, etc. I don't buy into that because I don't drink anywhere near enough to make that worth the cost. But also, I would be worried that I would feel like I don't want to waste this, like I paid too much. I better drink at lunch, and not that, but I just feel like it would be pressure for me to get my money's worth, and I don't want to be like headachy the whole time. So I don't ever buy a drink package. And beers on board, like a boring beer like Bud Light. They had Budweiser, Bud Light, Miller Lite. I get Heineken. I don't remember what else. I should have written this down, but they were all $8. And then for some reason, even though we were on a Mexican cruise, the Corona was $9. And I'm trying to remember what else. I don't know. But anyway, we mostly just drink beer but you are allowed to bring one bottle of wine per person on board. So don't tell anybody, but I put in a box with the bag that's like worth 4 bottles in my suitcase because my sister and her husband and my husband and I, so there were 4 of us. But then at the last minute, the 2 of them went and bought wine. So then we had extra, but don't tell anybody. Anyway, and you can smoke outside. They have a smoking area, but you cannot smoke in their casino, which I actually like because on Royal Caribbean, the casinos are super smoky and I can't, that gives me a headache. I don't like that. Okay, wow. This is going to take too long. I don't know. We're going to have to rush through this. All right, so here's day 1. And you can see, like, I always say this is going to be me and my sister in 10 years. We look like this lady. She's on all the commercials. How many of you get the celebrity commercial before your videos? Because that is the only commercial they push to me anymore is, I feel like new sunglasses. And then it says, I feel like new sunglasses, a brand new pair of jeans. Like, who wants a brand new pair of jeans? They're tight and uncomfortable. I don't know. Anyway. All right. So they do this sail away. We went to a little party with a Facebook group we were in for the cruise. And so we all met on there's a little bar at the back of the ship called... Is it called I think it's called the Sunset Bar. And so they were like, let's all meet there and wear beads so we know who's who. So I had brought some beads with me and we wore them and we went and we met a couple from Scotland. And then I think most of the rest of them were Canadian. There was one couple, I think, from Ohio. But it was interesting. The ship, I would say, was probably, if I had to guess, which I would be, 90% Canadian. And then 5% from the UK and the other 5% American. That would be my guess of the breakdown for some reason. Anyway, which is fun. So we went and met a few people, but we had dinner reservations at the main dining room, and we kind of wanted to get there early because day 1 is always the worst day at the main dining room because they let you sign up for reserved seating at 5:30 or at 8, I think, something like that. Or you can do anytime dining where you just show up. But we hadn't told them we were together, the 2 couples, because their app is screwy and it always screws up when you try to connect reservations. We found that out when we were reserving Alaska. So we hadn't done that. So we went early and just told them we were together and we'd like the same table every night. And they're like, I guess, I don't remember if we told them that right then. But anyway, so then we went. So the first night, what I'm getting to, you have to wait a little bit sometimes for everybody to sort it out. And people get mad because they're just been traveling and they're grumpy and they yell. And it's the worst. That's the worst. And then after that, it's totally fine after that. So just be patient on night 1. I don't know. People get weird sometimes. They're like so different in the beginning. People are getting all snappy and snapperhead about all kinds of things. By the end, everybody's like chill and like, whatever, it's good. Okay, anyway, so that night, they had the silent disco. And they'll talk about their dining, Let's see, what did we do? This is day 1. No. Day 1. Oh, yeah, okay, welcome aboard. See, right away, they have like a DJ playing music. So they have these things like guess the price of the painting at the art gallery. I don't mess. I remember when we first started cruising, they'd have like art auctions and they'd give you free champagne and we'd show up. But I don't mess around with any of that art stuff anymore. It's, in my as a person who owned art galleries, it's a bunch of trash. It's kind of bad. I don't know. Maybe there's nice stuff to be had in there. But from what I've looked at, they have like a green olive who has legs and is drinking a martini. And they're calling that art. I don't know about that. Anywho, so I don't go to any of that. All right, so on day one, I don't know what we did. I think we did go to the casino, learn to play, and meet and greet because they had said, I think that you get like a free, money to put in the slots. But when we got there, it was like not much going on. We couldn't quite figure it out. So I don't know. And then we went to the Celebrity Theater and saw this comedian, Julie Barr. She was okay. She was okay. My sister had a headache, and she didn't want to be there, I don't think. So I don't know. There were a lot of people who were really laughing and enjoying her. She was okay. She did a lot of the kind of jokes like, when we were the kids, we didn't wear seatbelts and we liked it like that and all that. It's like, okay, I've heard that before. It was sort of like stuff I've heard a million times. But she was all right. Silent. I think maybe that night we kind of went to bed a little bit early, I think, because I can't say that I remember much about that night. Okay, day two. Day two was at sea. Oops. So day two, what did we do? Oh, we did this Beyond the Podium with Justine Nadeau. Are you smarter than a dolphin? And she was really good, and she is like a marine biologist. And so she explained all about dolphins, and that was really good. We really enjoyed that. And then what else did we do that day? Look, there's just so many things. You could, like, this ship had a really good cruise director, and he had so much going on that we were like, oh, we want to do that. Oh, we want to do that, So I'm trying to look here and see what else to do. There's a ton of stuff going on at the pool. And we were up around there a bit, but like so many ships, there are always these people who like are chair hogs, and they put their towels on the chair and then like go off to lunch or whatever. And so a lot of times it's hard to get a chair if you're not there at 6 a.m. or whatever. And Celebrity, I think they're trying to be better about taking the towels off and putting a note on there saying share, the pool or something like that. But we didn't fight for it too hard because we had other stuff going on. So let's see, what else do we do here? We did, I don't know about that, but we did play basketball. That there is a basketball court and a pickleball court. And so we're doing some laps to get exercise. And we went and played Pig, a few games of Pig, and I want you all to know that I won. So, turns out. And then, you have dinner, and we go to the dining room for dinner. We don't eat it. We eat breakfast and lunch in generally the Ocean View buffet, which is excellent, by the way. Lots of choices, tons of good food. Every morning I'd have the fresh cut watermelon, pineapple, cantaloupe, and it was good, really good. And I'm like so boring at breakfast because all I really want is coffee. So I'd have the cut up fruit and usually some scrambled eggs. And they have grits that I would consider not good grits. But if you get them and put salt on them and kind of mix them with scrambled eggs, it's pretty good. I don't know. But like everybody else gets the not make your own, but they make for you. You choose omelets or eggs Benedict. I never had any of that. And they have a bakery where they do pain au chocolat. I did have one of those. It was yummy. They have yogurt, cereals, they've got everything. And at lunch, it's different every day. And you can always find something at lunch. But what I like is they have a huge nice salad bar with like really quality mixed greens or romaine or spinach if you like. And then all these other veg you can put on there. So I used to make a big salad, and then I usually go for the Indian food because they have really good like butter chicken or tikka masala or things like that. And they do have a carving station. So one day I was going to get just a little piece of roast beef, and he gave me a piece like this big. And I swear it was that thick. And I ate it all. I ate the whole thing. And then for dinner on that night was when they had lobster night. Well, the night they have lobster night, they also have the best thing on their menu, because I've had it now 3 times in Alaska and here, and it's the beef Wellington. Oh my God, it's so good. So that night I had a huge thing of roast beef for lunch. And then at dinner I had the beef Wellington and the lobster tail. I got 2 dinners and I ate it all. Okay. So that night it was Celebrity Showtime with Julian Colte. Now, this guy did an Elton John. I would call it an impersonation, but that's not it. It's a tribute, I would say. He is a really talented singer, pianist. And when he does Elton John, it was like you're seeing Elton John. Like he put the feathers on and the outfit and everything, but he wasn't cheesy at all. Like he was very much, you could tell he loved this music. And he was really good. And we were like, he's so good. And we left there. And I was like, boy, he'd be great if he did Billy Joel. Well, guess what? Later that week, he did Billy Joel. And I was like, oh my God. But, yeah, he was so good. And I was really relieved because when we booked the cruise, having already been on the ship before, and one of the reasons we book it is it's an older, smaller ship, so it's less expensive. So that's just so you know. I think my husband and I together for both of us paid $1,200. That's with tips and everything. I think that's right. So, what was I going to say about him? Oh, I know. So we were worried that maybe the entertainment, we've already seen it all. And to be honest, there was a different cruise director in Alaska, and he was good. But everything felt like for an older crowd. And afterwards, I wrote in my feedback, you got to start aiming for a little bit younger, because people who are retiring and cruising right now in their 50s and 60s aren't wanting as much 1950s, 60s stuff or disco. You know, we want like more current, maybe even current stuff. And I think they did a lot better job. Not that Elton John's current, but you know, we all love him. But they did a better job of having like 80s trivia and 80s music. And I'm trying to think what else. I still wish they had more like rock and roll kind of stuff, but they had an acoustic guitar player and he'd play whatever you want. But it was good. Anyway, okay. So that night we went to that, and then I think we went to the casino. Oh yeah. Okay. I think this is the night that, hold on. Let me just see here. Where's so this one night we get this letter. It wasn't this. It must be on here. Hold on. Where is it? Anyway, somewhere on here it says you get a casino credit. I don't see it, but so they gave you $5 of free casino slot machine pulls, $5 worth. And so we're like, okay, we have to be there. I think at 8 o'clock they said it would start. So we go running down to the casino. And at 8 o'clock, you put your card, your C-Pass, and you have to be part of their blue chip program, which is easy to do. And then you put in, like, I forget, you have a PIN number or something, and they give you $5. So I'm like, sweet. So there was a game called Lumberjack, and it had these three little beavers who popped their little heads up. And the funny thing is, my sister was playing it, and I said to her, "You gotta, you gotta pat your beaver." And everybody started laughing, and the two of us were like, "What?" Like, we didn't get it right away, and then we're like, "Oh, okay." But anyway, so then I was playing that game, and there are three little beavers, and when you kind of touch the screen, they go like, they're super cute. So you like really want to play it, but they just take your money, those beavers. I did actually win $50 on the beavers at one point, but not that night. That night I lost $4. So now I have $1 free play left. I'm like, I'm out, beavers. No way. So I went over to this slot machine that we played in Alaska a fair amount called Buffalo. And they have different versions of Buffalo. And the only one available was Buffalo Chief. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to use my last dollar on this. So I click it, and it was an 88-cent was minimum bet. I only bet minimum. So I hit the 88-cent bet. And it goes, you get a gold dime and another gold dime, and then you have to wait and see, and you get another one. And that means it goes Buffalo. I won $894 on an 88-cent bet. And I was sitting there going, oh my gosh. And this, like, people started getting behind me because it was taking so long. It has to go through all this stuff, You go through like multiple spins, and it just kept giving me free spins. I had like 30 free spins or something. And people were lining up behind me. And I was like putting my face in my hands because I was like, oh my gosh. And I go, this was a free bet. And this old man looks at me. He goes, do you feel guilty? I go, I think I do. He goes, don't you feel guilty? You take that money. I was like, okay. So anyway, that was kind of a good deal of fun. And then on all the nights that I played, I came out ahead like every time. And I felt bad because my sister, it was really just the two of us for the most part. A little bit my husband, but she was like, we only do no more than $20 a night. And she only won one night. The other night she lost. So she was kind of bummed, but overall we had fun. It was fun. And I took my money and bought them all margaritas at the bar. So, all right, let's see here. Okay, so this night they had Celebrity Showtime with Chloe Lowery. These people, like the guy who did the Elton John, his name was Colte, Julian, and Chloe, they aren't regulars. Like, they bring on different performers for these cruises, and I don't know how long they're on for, but I tell you what, if these two are on, go to the show. It's fun. They're fun. They're not cheesy. They're just really good. So Chloe, oh yeah, she sang Decade Divas. And so she went through each decade and sang one diva song. So you're kind of like guessing what song she's going to sing. We would sit at dinner having read this and try to guess beforehand. 60s music trivia. I think we went to that. Is that the one? I'm not sure if we did. And then at the spa, they have different things going on. We didn't ever do anything like that. Okay, so this day is day 3. And day 3, you're in Key West, Florida. So at 8 a.m., you arrive in Key West. Now, we got up early, and we got off the ship right away. And then we walked to Hemingway House, and we took a tour of the Hemingway House and saw the, 6-toed kitty cats. They have like 59 cats on site at the Hemingway House, and it's an old house. And even though he was sort of a guy who went from one lady to another, so I think he had 4 wives or something. But he lived in that house for 8 years. But it's where he wrote, I don't know, like almost all of his most famous books. So that was kind of neat. And they said his wife always wanted a swimming pool. And he didn't want, he's like, you have the biggest swimming pool, in the world, 20 feet from the house with the ocean. So he kept this area in the back where he had boxing matches. And then after the boxing match was over, they'd all go to the bar. So he was away, I think in England or Paris or somewhere. And she heard he was cheating on her. So while he was gone, she filled in the boxing ring with a swimming pool. And it's still a swimming pool right now. And it is nice. So anyway, that day, we just walked around Key West. We went, there's an old cemetery. I don't know why. My sister and I like to go to old cemeteries. So we walked down there. Where else did we go? And then we walked. Oh, and we went and had lunch. And that one day, that was the only time during the whole trip it started to rain while we were having lunch outside. But that was okay. So that was fun day in Key West. I had never been to Key West, so I thought it was pretty nice. That was cool. And that night we saw Chloe, and she was very good. Oh, look, they give you this map of Key West. Oh yeah, we took our picture. There is a line to take a picture at the southernmost point. So we just from across the street took a selfie, and that was kind of in the background because, like, I'm not waiting in line. But we did walk down there. I don't know where else. We kind of walked around Duval Street. There's a lot of shops and stuff. There was like a little boardwalk somewhere along here that we walked along. I'm sure there's stuff I'm forgetting because we were there all day, but I don't. The Hemingway Home and Museum. The southernmost point, yeah. We had conch fritters. We did do that. Yeah. Anyway, it was nice. Okay. Day 4 was a day at sea. We were slightly concerned that this cruise had too many days at sea. But as it turned out, we were all wishing we had one more day at sea because we were having a really fun time on the days at sea. So this day, the same marine biologist, Justine Nadeau, she's Canadian, French Canadian, but she did sharks, Beyond the Myth, and I am shark obsessed. So we went to that and really enjoyed that. Yeah, this night they did the production show, which is their cast of vocalists. Now, it's a different cast than they had in Alaska, but somehow the same. Like, it felt like the songs were the same as they were, in May, which was, almost a year ago. And I don't want to be negative about them because they're all very talented. But the problem with the cast is they feel like they're competing with each other to be the loudest and to be the most, best. Instead of like backing off and letting the other one have their moment and then coming in kind of soft and building to a great big solo moment, they're just like it feels like they're screaming at you all the time. So they were not our most favorite, but still, you know what? They were very good, and all the shows are basically 45 minutes, maybe an hour. I mean, maybe 50 minutes. I don't know. So you're never locked in there so long that you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta get out. It's like, it's always fine to go to a show because they are very scheduled and they don't go long at all. So we did do this audio guided meditation, and my sister and her husband ditched on that. I came late. I forget what I was doing. I was doing something. And I think I was eating a long breakfast, actually. But my husband does meditation every day, pretty much. So I was doing it, and I realized I should probably do a video with some kind of meditation, maybe. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to listen to some and get ideas. Okay. We did not do the blackjack tournament this time. I usually buy into that like well before the cruise. It'll go on sale for $24. But I don't know why I never did. And then when I looked at it again, it was like 34, and I was like, forget it. So I didn't do it. I'm trying to look and see what else we did that day, because I know we did more. I'm looking for. We did. Oh yeah, they have an outdoor movie theater where they show movies. We don't really watch that, but one day when we were kind of tired and nappy, we did go up there, and they were playing this cartoon movie that is the Lord of the Rings. I'd never heard of it, but it was actually kind of nice. I have to admit, it did kind of was good for napping too. There was, I don't know which day it was, and I'm having trouble finding it, but they had what they called, oh, here they are, the Mexican ambassadors. And these were two women. I wish I could remember. The one's name was Paula. Like, I'm probably saying that wrong, but I think it was Paula. And the other one, I can't remember her name. But we loved them. And they did classes, and I don't see them on here, and I don't remember what days. But I can't dance. Like, I'm two left feet, and I don't know my right from my left. I'm always going the wrong direction. And they did, I learned salsa, cha-cha-cha, merengue from them. And I am not kidding. Within like a 1 hour time period, we were dancing to an entire song. And not good. It wasn't good. But we did it. And after doing the salsa, I think that was the most hardest one. And I was sweating like I had done a Zumba class. It was so much workout, but you're so concentrating on the steps, you don't even notice it. And so I think that's my new exercise. I'm going to look at YouTube videos. But I couldn't believe it. Like, I was dancing, and like, I don't know how to dance at all. It was awesome. And they also, the Mexican ambassadors, they also did a educational seminar on the Mayans, which we were somewhere that day, so we didn't see that. I forget where. And Day of the Dead, which I was so disappointed I missed, because I really wanted to go to that. And then one day they did this craft, and I don't know that I would have gone to this, except that they were like, "Are you coming?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." Yeah. And so I was glad we went, because I never do a craft on board a ship, but it was actually really fun. And everybody's working on them together, so that was fun. All right, this is gonna take way too long. All right, so then the next day was day 5. We went to Costa Maya, and we left. We didn't do a ship excursion, but we went with this one called Native Choice. And I think Costa Maya is kind of like, there were little towns there, but they're gonna make it the next like Coco Cay, like sort of a private island. There you can see they're setting up like a water park area. But if you want, you can leave the port and go on excursions with private groups. And I don't know about all the rest, but this Native Choice was not very expensive, I didn't think. I think it was like, I feel like it was like $70 each, maybe, per person. Maybe something like that. And they take you on a bus and drive you out to the Mayan, I guess they're temples that are out there. I think they're, what do they call those? Cochaban? Is that what it is? I'm saying that wrong. But anyway, and that was really cool. And then they had a guide. The guide on the Native Choice was Alan. And then at the ruins, it was David. And they tell you all about it. Really interesting. And then on the way home, we stopped at, there are these lakes that they called like, I forget what they call them. The Emerald, no. Shoot, why don't I know this? Anyway, I could do a separate video of that. But we went and had lunch there. And I have pictures I could show you, but I don't have. But anyway, and that was nice. They had tacos. It was delicious. And margaritas or pina coladas or whatever you want. And then we did a little kayaking, and you could swim. Mostly just sat there and just relaxed. And then they take you back to the port. And at the port, like right there, like this is the port, I think. Yeah, this is the ship. It's kind of a long walkway, just so you know of that. But right here in the port is, it's, what's the word I'm looking for? Facade. It's like facade of Mexico, but it's still cute. And like you could get off the ship and just hang out like around here. Now they're showing a beach here. I don't think that's here yet. This is all stone. I think maybe they're building this later or something. But over here there are flamingos. There's like a little bird sanctuary thing. We didn't do any of that because by the time we came back, even though we still had like 2 hours, everybody had cleared out and basically most of the shops were closed. It's like, because we were the only ship in port, there weren't very many of us. It's like the ship only holds 2,000 people and not all of them get off at all the stops. So there was like no one here. And it feels kind of weird because you're like, uh-oh, are they going to leave us? But they tell you what time all aboard is. So we kind of walked around and looked at the flamingos. They had some dolphins here that made me feel weird. I don't know. Maybe they're okay, but something about the dolphins all being in that little pool, kind of, I don't know. And so, I don't know. They are building this up to be like a private island situation, I guess. So we'll see how that goes. What else? Where do they tell you? Know before you go. Margaritas, tortas, explore Costa Maya. Yeah, they don't tell you the name of the... Anyway, whatever. We enjoyed it. That was a good day. But mostly because we did this Native Choice tour. So if you go to Costa Maya, you might want to look into them. They were very good. I thought they were very good. So then that was day 5. Day 6, we went to Cozumel, Mexico. So you can get off early, like 7 a.m. Cozumel, let me think here for a second. Okay, I think this one, we got off and we weren't sure what we were going to do. We were talking about like, there's different beach clubs there. There's like Paradise Beach and Mayachen, and I don't know, all these different ones. I'm just a little bit confused. I'm trying to remember. Yeah. But this one, Cozumel, okay. We ended up, I think what we did, is this the one where you have to take hold on, is this one? Cozumel, As soon as the ship is cleared, guests are welcome to disembark and explore the port. Okay, I can't remember. But anyway, I know, it's all coming back to me. This one, we got on a taxi. And we took it to I can't remember the name of it, a little beach bar place. Shoot, I can't remember the name. And when we went to the taxi, this woman like was there at the taxi thing. And she said, well, it's now $20 to get in to that bar. But I knew it was not because I had looked it up on Reddit. And I was like, I don't think so, but we want a taxi to go there. And so they gave us a taxi, and then that taxi driver got out and went up before we got out, like to the host stand. and said something to him. So then when we walked up, they're like, okay, it'll be $20 a person. But there is a sign that says free admission. So we're like, no, we just want to come in. Can't we just come in and eat and get some drinks? And so then the manager comes out and he's like, yeah, you can. Who told you you had to do the $20? And we're like, nobody, like the taxi person, but we never. And he's like, he was mad at the taxi. So I don't know what they were up to, but he's like, no, come on in. Like, you don't have to pay to come in. So anyway, we went in and had some, beers and food, and then you can snorkel right there. But I can't remember the name of the place. If I think of it, I'll put it in the comments. I can't remember. Anyway, so that was a fun day. And then that night, what was the event? Let's see. Oh, Celebrity Showtime, Wes Barker. Okay, Wes Barker was a comedian magician, and he was really good. More of a comedian in the line of Nate Bargatze. I would say he's very much like him. And then he does like these sort of smallish magic tricks, but it was all very fun. That was great. And then I feel like that night was maybe when we did salsa dancing after that. But I can't find it on here. Did you see this? They are putting in a smoking policy in Mexico. Smoking and vaping is not permitted in all public places in Mexico. How about that? It's like, wow. So that was fun. And then here is day 7 at sea. Oh yeah, they have 2 what used to be called formal nights. And when I first started cruising, when I was like in high school, people would wear tuxedos and ball gowns and stuff. But now they call it evening chic, and it's just sort of whatever you feel like kind of cool in. So I had some like silky black pants, and I have a pointed toe flat shoe because I don't like wearing heels on board the ship if it's rocky. Although this time you would not know you were on a ship. It was so smooth waters the entire time. And then I had like, a cute top. And so that was nice. And I think this is the night they have lobster and beef Wellington. Okay, so the Celebrity Showtime, they had Tatiana Sapozinkova. She played violin. And the cruise director, Manuel, who is so good. I mean, he is the best cruise director ever. But he had said, like, I know you guys won't want to go see a violinist, but just come, you're going to love her. And no kidding, we loved her. Like, she was so sweet. And I think part of what he does really well, Manuel, is picks people who have great personalities that you're just like on their side, and you're like, oh, they're so good. But she was really good, and she played violin. It was beautiful. She'd play like Led Zeppelin but also like classical. Like, it was great. And the kind of interesting thing that happened, it was day 7 was March 3rd. And like I said, it was like 90% Canadians. Well, let me back up and tell you what happened on day 1. Hold on. On day 1 was when the comedian was on there, and she was totally non-political. I don't think they try not to touch on anything like that. So she said, where is everybody from? And basically that's when I knew we were with almost all Canadians, because the audience was like 90% Canadian. And then when she gets to the US, it's just a smattering of us. But then when she says, who's from Canada? This guy from the US screams out, 51st date. And I'm like, oh my gosh, shut up. And all these Canadians start booing. And he started yelling something else. I don't know what. And they're booing him. And the poor comedian on stage is like, okay. Let's not get into anything like politics. And how about you just keep your mouth shut, kind of, to the guy. And I think he got up and stormed out or something. I'm like, what are you doing? But anyway, so this violinist is on March 3rd. Now, nobody in our group was watching any kind of news at all, except my husband one day went to take a nap, and he goes, I turned on the TV just for a minute, and I happened to catch a glimpse of, sorry if this is going to get slightly political, but Trump and Vance like berating Zelensky. And he's like, it was really, really, really awkward and embarrassing. And then that night, Tatiana goes on, and she, probably not knowing anything's going on, says, I am living in London. I'm from the Ukraine, but had to leave Ukraine to live in London. And the amount of cheers, I mean, people were applauding her, like standing up and like just giving her so much support and everything. I think she was about to cry. And I felt like I've never in my entire life, I don't think I've ever felt around people from other countries embarrassed to be from the United States. Usually when you tell people, they're like, oh, cool, and they want to know stuff about it, and they're like, they're nice and excited. I was feeling really uncomfortable with it, and that's a feeling I don't like. So, but anyway, she was very good. And then they had the totally 80s. Okay, so they did an 80s trivia, and that was fun. And then after the 80s trivia, they said we're going to have an 80s dance party. And so my sister and I are like, okay, we're going to the 80s dance party. Well, they have a band, like a in-house band that plays, they're probably 20 years old. And so they didn't know what 80s meant. And they started playing disco. And they played like all these songs from the 1970s. And we're like, nope. So we noped out of there. We didn't stay for that. And actually the whole dance floor cleared out. So that was sort of a bummer. But yeah, that was good. All right. We did another day of music trivia on board, and we were really good and got every question, even to the point of like, there was the question of who's in the Traveling Wilburys. And we're like, Roy Orbison. You have to write them down. Roy Orbison, Bob Dylan, George Harrison. And then we're stuck for a minute. And I was like, it's Jeff. Is it Jeff Beck? And my husband's like, no. And so then they go on to the next question. And all of a sudden my husband goes, it's Lynn. It's Jeff Lynn. So we got everything right, even the extra credit. And it was 32 points altogether. And when they were asking, and they don't keep track because the extra credits added on randomly, whatever, but these two ladies claimed they had 34 points. And we're like, no, in our minds going, I don't think so. They're only 32 points. But so they won. And it so doesn't matter. It's so, like, when I tell you it doesn't matter, this is what you get if you win. Because we did win trivia one night. You get this pop song. Like, it does not matter. But I was so worried my husband was going to pull a Larry Sanders, because he's like, what? They got Jeff Lynne. And then there was like some other pretty hard question, I forget. And he's like, I don't think so. So then when everybody turned in their sheets, they're sitting there in a stack. And I see my husband go up, and he's sitting there like trying to find their sheet. I'm like, oh no. He's going to do a Curb Your Enthusiasm. Go, excuse me, do you feel good about this? But then he came back and he said, I can't tell which one's theirs. So, like, too bad, because that would have been so funny. Okay, so then day 8 was Georgetown, Grand Cayman. And that day we didn't have a plan. And you have to tender into the port, which means you get off the ship onto another smaller boat, and that takes you into the port. And while we were in the tender, this woman said, we had our snorkel gear with us because we carry it with us. And she goes, are you snorkeling? And we were like, yeah, but we don't really know where we're going. And she ended up telling us like places to go. And that was super handy and useful. So we walked from the tender. Like you go through this port, you get out of here, and I think you walk down Harbor Drive this way, and there was a little dive shop, and it had like a coffee bar or something that wasn't open yet. But at the dive shop, they were so friendly, and we're like, "Can we just go in here?" And he said, "Well, the beach is public," and he told us where to go, where to snorkel to. So you snorkel right off there, and there is a reef, and there are two, I forgot what they're called, but there are two spots you can snorkel right there. That was really cool, and we saw tons of fish there. And then we left there, and we took the city bus, which was very easy, by the way, so don't be afraid of that. And you'll see, there are all these ones that say taxi and all this, but one says, I think it says city bus. You just wave at it like there's a green line, and the green line just goes up and down this road. And this goes to 7 Mile Beach, which is the big well-known beach. And the cab drivers, some of them were charging like $30 a person, which I assume includes something, but I don't know what. But anyway, so we just waved down the bus, and it was $2. And you can get dropped off kind of anywhere you want. Really, it seemed like he would just stop. He was real friendly. And so we took it all the way up to the north part of 7 Mile Beach, which is called Cemetery Beach. And then we snorkeled out there and just hung out. And then we hopped on the city bus back, $2 back. And we went to a bar. Because we were tendering, we felt a little nervous to wait too long to come back. Like, that would be my only complaint, is that you have to be back for the last tender, I think at 3 o'clock. It would be nice if that were 7 o'clock at night, you know? But anyway, we went to a bar across the street that I can't remember the name of, Sharky's, and had nachos and a couple of beers, and then went and got on the tender back to the ship. So that was a really fun day, and this is what the beach looks like there. Really, that's pretty much what it looks like. So we got a lot of good snorkeling in there. What was the show this night? Let's see. Oh, it was this was the production cast again, and they did this show called Soundtrack. I have no idea what the soundtrack was, because the songs were totally random and weird. And a lot of them were the exact same as they did in Alaska with a different cast. But I swear it had a different name. I don't know. It was really random. And like I said, they're good. But overall, it's like meh. But anyway. Oh, and one day there was, because we've cruised with them before, we get invited to the captain's party. That was really nice. So if you go with them and you've cruised before, or even if you've done a match, I think with Royal Caribbean, they match your points level. Make sure you go to that captain's party. I think it's on maybe day 2, because they made like fancy drinks, like the kind I don't ever order, like cosmopolitans and appletinis, and they gave it to you, and then the captain talks, and it felt very shishi, it's like, oh, fancy. Even though it turns out I don't like those kind of drinks. I was like, oh, that's too much for me. And they had, what do you call mimosas, things like that. It was fun. So I think this day maybe we did the cha-cha-cha. And then Wednesday is the last day, and it's a day at sea. Now, where we wished we had another day at sea was between, Costa Maya and Cozumel. We kind of wished there was a day at sea there. But this day is their new thing they call the poolest day ever, and they do all sorts of stuff by the pool. But they also had other things going on. So we didn't do the pool stuff because we were learning the merengue with the Mexican ambassadors, which was so fun. And then they told us they were doing the craft, so we did the craft that day. And I think we did the awakening stretch class that morning. We did that. I think We may have done that twice. My brother-in-law went to the Lionfish Beyond the Podium, but we were doing the Moringa during that. Merengue. Is that how you say that? Merengue dance class. I guess I'm saying it wrong. And then, the pool volleyball guests versus officers. That was kind of fun to watch. And the pool Olympics was fun to watch. We didn't do it, but we watched it. And it seems like there isn't a lot to do, but the reality is we were like busy all the time. But we're the kind of people who will try anything and do anything. Like a lot of people are like sit and watch dancing instead of doing it, but we're like always on the dance floor. Even though we can't dance, we're like, we don't care. And it was funny because by the last day, people were coming up to us and going, you, my sister and I especially, going, you two are so fun. You guys are everywhere doing everything. We're like, oh my God. But that night, they had Celebrity Showtime, and they had that Colte Julian again, and he did a Billy Joel tribute. I thought his Elton John was better than his Billy Joel, but Billy Joel was still awesome. Like, so fun. We loved it, because I love Billy Joel. So, what else did we do that night? Pub quiz. We may have done pub quiz. Oh, there was a guy named Wallace, and he was a guitarist, and he would a lot of times they have a wine bar. I can't remember what the wine bar is called. It's called I can't remember, but anyway, Cellar Masters. So he a lot of times would be in there. So sometimes when we had a little downtime, and all these places, the ship's not big, so you can kind of run between them. So we would go see him. Maybe 4 or 5 times we went and just watched him do a set, and he'll take requests and everything, which we should have come up with more requests, because he would sometimes like do the same song that we heard the night before, but we didn't really care. It was all fun. What else? Here's the movie we ended up taking a nap to. Outdoor movie, The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. I don't know. So yeah, that was kind of relaxing. That's the only time we sat at the outdoor theater. What else? Mexican ambassadors. They do stuff in the spa and things. We never go to that because I'm always afraid they're going to try to sell me stuff. You know what I mean? Anyway. Yeah. So then... Oh, and then another night, they gave us another $20 to put in the slots. And that same night, for some reason, because it was a mix-up, they gave us another $5. So altogether, we got $30 free slot play. And I ended up winning. So we left the house. I think I had like $700 cash between us for whatever, tipping, for buying, so whatever. And we bought, well, for sure we paid for the Native Choice thing. That was $140. We bought buckets of beer. We bought lunches. We tipped people all over the place. We tipped people in the casino. I always tip the bartenders in the casino because they take care of me. Who else did we tip? We tipped, you add your tip on at the beginning of the cruise. And I know a lot of people tip on top of that. I don't really, because I feel like, well, it's in there, What else did we tip? I'm trying to remember. Anyway, a lot. But we won enough in the casino that I went home with $400 more than I left with. So that was a pretty good deal. I was like, yes. So good. Yeah. So it was really fun. If there's anything you want to know more about, I'd be happy to go into this is over an hour of detail, so I don't know how much more detail. But every day when you get to your room, there are things like 10% off your liquor purchase of $200 or more. Well, I'm not doing that. I'm a classic member, so I'm invited. Oh, here it is. Join us for an exclusive members-only event with music, drinks, and special appearances from your captain and senior officers. By the way, the captain on the ship, I must have seen him 20 times. He was everywhere. I saw him all the time. But when they say drinks, in the past when I've done things like this, it's like the cheap champagne that's not very good. But this party was good. They had fancy appetizers and really good drinks. It was fun. You're like, wow, this is nice. What is this? 15% off your onboard beverage experience. Yeah, so if you wanted to buy the drink package while on board, you can, and they give you a discount sometimes, but we've never done that. This I didn't even see when I was there, because sometimes I'd be so tired I wouldn't look at anything. But take 15% off any beverage from the hours of 4 to 5 ship time. I miss that. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with this postcard that says the coolest day ever. I don't know. Oh, I forgot to tell you, we did a ship excursion. That was a tour of the behind the scenes. I'm looking for the flyer for that because it tells you. Okay, nope. Hold on, this must be it. This is the ship excursion. Thank you for booking inside access behind the scenes ship tour. So before I went on the cruise, I think I asked on Reddit if anyone had done this and what they thought. And some people had said it was way too long and boring and this and that. But I think I'm so curious about things that I found it really interesting. So I might even do a separate video just kind of talking about that experience. I guess I'll talk about it now. So they take you, you meet up, and you're supposed to wear closed-toed shoes and long pants. And they send you 2 postcards saying that and call your room and leave a message. And these women show up and said, we didn't know. We're like, you didn't know? Everybody knew. I did not know. Anyway, so we had to wait for them. But they take you down below to where the staff quarters are, and you see like where their rooms are and their cafeteria and the bar they have that they can go to. And then they take you to the environmental officer. I think that's what he's called, which is kind of the trash guy, to be honest. But it's really interesting. Every bag of trash that comes in, whoever brings it down puts on gloves, and they go through the bag and they put the recycling here, the glass here, the food waste over here. They have to sort through all of the garbage that comes in. It's insane. And then they have a special thing for aluminum, glass, plastic, everything. And then all the food waste goes into this one thing where they can burn it, but they have to be at least, I think it was 3 miles off the coast before they'll run the thing to burn it, so the smoke doesn't get, and and so if they aren't 3 miles off, then they put it in a big refrigerator to keep it cold so it doesn't smell. And then once they get out, they put it in there. It was something else. I mean, unbelievable. And Celebrity's pretty well known for trying hard to be environmentally friendly and, take care of the environment while they're also, being entertaining. So I do like that about them. And then they take you over to their refrigerators, and they take you on a whole tour of the kitchen and show you how that works and the dishwashers work. And it was interesting because I worked in restaurants for 13 years, and it's basically like the back of any chain restaurant you've seen, except 10 times as big. It's huge. And this is a small ship. So I was like, okay, that's cool. And then they take you upstairs to the bridge. And, well, first they take you to the control room where all the computers are, and they're interior, but it's where all the computers are. But then they take you up to the bridge where the windows, it's the whole thing of windows, and they tell you what everything is. It was all very interesting. I found it fascinating. It was like maybe, I don't know, 2 hours, but I loved it. It's like $100 and something to do it, and it does go on sale. But for me personally, it was worth it. I thought it was really neat. Although I'm sure you could watch a YouTube video that tells you all that if you didn't want to pay for it. But then while you're there, they gave you some coupons and things and a picture, but the picture is terrible. I don't even know what I did with it. It's a really bad photo. And every day they give you spa stuff in your room. I've never even looked at it. What is this? $50 off premium internet. I didn't do that. Park West is the art gallery. A special event. Last day at sea in the rendezvous. Guess the price competition. Yeah, I didn't do that. Like literally every day they have a spa deal. So like this one